So I have these gauge clusters here out of a TerraGator 8144, and the problem I'm having with them is when you turn the key on, they flash or flicker a little bit and they don't light up, and the screen doesn't come on. This one turns green for a second, the backlight lights up green, and then it shuts off, and they just won't turn on. And this is typically in colder weather it happens. When it's warm, they turn on no problem. I've had this problem with quite a few of them now, and what happens is over time, you have summer, winter, hot, cold, blah blah blah, the solder joints on them actually crack and you lose contact. Once it warms up, the solder joints kind of expand a little bit and make contact again, and then things start working. Even early morning, when these do come on other machines, for instance, this will light up, both of them will work, but the screen is almost lit up black, and you can't read anything on the screen itself. After time, as it warms up, you can start seeing through, and then pretty soon it's normal again. So I'm going to tear these apart here and see if we can't get them fixed. Now typically this is the one that's the main culprit. If this one's not working, it almost blocks this one from working. And when I turn the key, this one will flash bright green like it's ready to do something, but I believe all the information may run through this first. This one doesn't work with that one simultaneously. We're going to tear them both apart, but I'm going to start with this one first here. This ribbon cable we got to pull out. We're going to separate this just a little farther. Now that you got that apart, these washers may be stuck right there. Make sure you pull them off and set them to the side. And the only thing holding this together, see, these are just pedestals here, and they're not connected anymore. The only thing holding this together is these pins that go through there. So without cracking the board, be very careful. You don't want to force this, just take your time. And it'll come. Okay. Now we can inspect all this for cracks or anything else like that. And some of these aren't even going to be visible, but you just need to look close and see. You can use a magnifying glass, whatever you gotta do. Just check it all over, see what you got on both circuit boards. So looking at this first one here, there isn't really too much sign of any damage. You want to look around at all those tiny little solder joints there. These resistors, I'm using this mechanical pencil here with the lead pressed in. You don't want to use anything conductive or sharp here, but just give everything a slight touch just to see if there's any movement in anything. That's usually a good sign that you got a cracked solder joint or something came loose on the board. But I mean, I took the magnifying glass and I went over it with a fine-tooth comb. And I mean, this right here, there's a little melted flux. I could try reflowing that right there. That's for this. But it's really hard to say if that means anything. If you do stumble across a cracked solder joint, most of these are all shiny, metallic looking. If there's a crack, it usually dulls out, more of a gray look to it. This all looks pretty good, and I can't see under here very well, obviously. There's a couple exposed there. Here's the other half of it. Now in this one, I did notice this capacitor right here. There was some flux and a little crust around that. But the rest of this all looked pretty good. Not only do the temperature cycles, you know, hot and cold, cause issues with this, but these are the electrical connectors here, and there's a lot of weight hanging down on that, so you want to inspect all these really good too. But I don't see anything too incriminating here. I'm going to take the other one apart and see if that has any issues with it, and then I'll go along and solder everything all at once. Same as last time, I got these stuck to the board here. You don't want to drop them in between there and forget about them. They'll be rattling around on that circuitry. Could definitely cause some issues. But these are all free here. Just these pins holding it together. And these you just got to get in the side and kind of pry a little bit. like that. Okay, we'll give this a once over here. Well, neither one of these look to have any issues. Everything's solid. Solder joints all look good. These are all tight here. So I'm gonna guess this one's pretty good. So with them boards all inspected, now we're actually gonna take a look at the display board itself. There's a couple dark spots right there on some of those solder joints, and then one up here also, but I don't think it looks too bad. And this isn't usually the screen to go bad either, so we're gonna check out this one here and see what we have. Right here is our main screen circuitry. And you probably can't see that in the camera, but all those are pretty well discolored. I'm gonna have to get a better look here and see what we have. See if the solder joints are cracked or anything. All this looks pretty good here. These are all the indicator lights. But where these come through, they look a little iffy. Look like they might have gotten warm a couple times. I'm going to reflow all that just to be safe. But I did notice right here, these two wires that go into the screen itself had some crust around it, and even below here looks a little worse. So I'm going to pop these 4 nuts off of there and get a better look at that. So I can't actually take that apart unless I desolder these pins. Those are soldered on both sides straight through there. But I think I can get my soldering iron in there enough just to remelt those. Could do it from the top here too. Okay, let's fire up the soldering iron and get these melted down. Now when you solder these, you want to make sure that solder doesn't run into the circuit next to it. If you do, you obviously have a short. So just make sure they're all clean and separated from each other, and you heated it up enough just to melt that solder down, a little dab that you added extra. You should be good to go. Do the other side here now. And you just want to do it until the solder flows. Once it starts flowing, you're done. Just hold it there. You can see it start to happen. The pin actually even wiggles a little bit. So when you know it's loose, that solder melted. And then made a new contact. There we go. Again, this probably isn't picking up very well on here. But nothing's touching in between these. Everything was reflowed. I know those are good now. Both sides. Now I'm gonna reflow those two there. And that was enough to bubble these two up back there also. So I'm gonna say this is done now. You can start to put this back together. If you got any dust or anything on that screen, make sure you wipe it off now before you put it back in the housing, because that'll bug you. Okay, got my lens cleaned up. Now we're gonna take this ribbon cable, feed that in there. Sure that seats. And get our screws back in. Now you don't want to use your power tools to put this back together. I'm just going to get everything started and snugged up a little bit here. And then we can go back around and make sure they're all the way bottomed out. Once they make contact with that board, they're done. Don't over tighten them or you'll end up cracking the board. Okay. Screen's in, nice and clean. Good to go. Now, for the sake of this video and my huge layer of confidence in this project here, I'm just going to leave what I just soldered, and I'm going to put everything back together. I'm not going to solder those other spots that I thought may have been an issue. And by doing that, then we can eliminate some of the guesswork here. And if you have a screen issue and what I just did there fixes your problem, then boom, problem solved. So I am going to run a little time lapse here of putting things back together, and we'll see what we have. go. So this one was just tore apart and inspected, and this one actually got some soldering on the screen circuit board itself. Let's see if she works. And she works. Look at that. So we've been running this machine for a week or two now, and every time you turn the key on, fires right up. Perfect. No complaints here, everything seems to be working. If you noticed at the beginning of the video, these lights weren't coming on either. That was all fixed. Everything's working over here. The fuel gauge wasn't working. You might have noticed that in the beginning of the video also. I replaced the sending unit and that solved that problem. Well, hopefully this video helps you out if your screen ain't working in your TerraGator or RoGator or possibly any other egg cull machine that may be running this. I don't know if any of the challengers do or not. But yeah, even if you have a digital display in something that's completely different, the concept is generally the same. Hot and cold cycles tend to mess with sensitive electronics like that. You're also bouncing around in the field out here. All that rattling, that's definitely going to do some wearing and tearing on it also. So you definitely don't need to tear this one apart at all or tear this one down as far as I did. You just need to separate it and get to this screen part. Reflow the solder joints there on the back of the screen itself, and or I should say the circuit board that holds the screen, and then the two wires going into the screen itself. 9 times out of 10 that's going to fix your problem, but it doesn't hurt to go over everything and just kind of inspect it. Make sure you don't have any other issues hiding in there. So yeah, I hope this helped you out. If it did, give me a thumbs up, and as always, thank you for watching.